Mr. Nobuo Tanaka. He's a special advisor to the Sasakawa Peace Foundation, Tokyo, Japan, and the former executive director, International Energy Agency. He is joining us virtually. So please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Tanaka.
Hello, thank you very much. Dear Honorable Prime Minister Modi and Honorable Ministers, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm very, very much honored to participate in the discussion from Tokyo. Let me share the screen of my thinking. Yes, when I was executive director of IEA, I was thinking about the security of the energy is the most important agenda for me. IEA was created in 1974 at the first oil crisis. IEA's role was keeping the strategic petroleum stockpile and use it in case of emergency. The first one is a Gulf War, and the second is Hurricane Katrina and Rita 2005, and then Libyan crisis, the 3 times. But more and more, the situation changed. The shale revolution gave a huge success in the North America, and import of oil by the OECD countries has been declining, while the import of petroleum by China and India is increasing. And when I met the founding father of the IEA, Dr. Henry Kissinger, he said, my job, Mr. Tanaka, your job, Mr. Tanaka, is to get China and India join the IEA. And I tried my best to convince Indian government, but India became the association member. It's a kind of observer status together with China and other countries. But recently, in 2019, India has officially requested to become a full member to the IEA. This will be the main issue of the ministerial meeting of the International Energy Agency next year. I'm really looking forward that India will become the full member before China. Golden age of natural gas has happened by the shale revolution to the North America. The United States decreased the share of coal in the power plant replaced by natural gas, and CO2 emission has been reduced substantially in these years. IEA several years ago said that oil has been important, of course, as a source of energy than electricity, but the future is different. Future is electrified. Electricity will play a much, much bigger role than the oil. And this is the geopolitics of the oil and gas. The vertical axis is import dependency of gas, while horizontal axis is oil dependency. And blue segment means importer of both gas and oil, while green is both exporter of oil and gas. China, India, EU, Japan, Korea, we are the importers of both oil and gas, while United States moving away from us to the exporter of oil and gas. So it's clear that for these blue countries that how to engage energy security is reducing the dependency of importation of oil and gas by the renewable energy sources. India's situation is much more vulnerable than China, so India requests a member to the IEA. Does make very good sense. The IEA, the FATI bill, the successor of myself at the IEA executive directorship, called the April last year was the Black April for the oil market, because sudden disappearance of demand of oil happened by the lockdown of the COVID-19, while renewable energy increased, even though the COVID-19. And FATI is getting more optimistic about the target of the Paris Agreement. Even the 1.5 degrees seems less remote than before. So the reason is that many governments are now announcing carbon neutral by 2050, and also the solar power is getting so cheap. So the solar photovoltaic is becoming new king of electricity. India is certainly proving that the king is the solar power. At the same time, industry is moving to the carbon neutrality much faster than governments. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon requested their supply chain companies to be carbon neutral by 2030. So wherever the companies exist, they have to cope with this reality. The Sony, Panasonic, Japanese companies announced carbon neutral because to maintain their relationship with GAFA company. Mercedes-Benz recently announced that even in the automobile sector to do the same. And BlackRock, the financial sector, is again very much in favor of ESG investment or SDG goals. So their scrutiny to the sustainability is much, much tougher in the coming future. The peak demand of oil is closer than we think, the British Petroleum said about a year ago. Just like what Zaki Yamani, the former oil minister of Saudi, predicted. And IEA's recent book about net zero by 2050 is really surprising and shocking to everybody, because IEA's Fatih Bureau said that energy companies must stop all new oil and gas exploring projects from this year if 2050 new net zero should happen. And this is a milestone to get on track for the long-term targets by the IEA's book. Yes, 2050, total dependency on the renewables, but 2040, the power sector must go net zero. All cars on sale should be non-ICE, internal combustion engine, by 2035 and 2020. No new oil and gas development. So this is the backcasting by the IEA. It's not forecasting. When we see the net zero happen 2050, this is what should happen. But key technology like solar, wind should be quadrupled by 2030. So quick change is really necessary. This is not a long-term future of 2050. By 2030, electric cars should be by 18 times more. The 4% annual reduction of energy intensity must happen. This is a really challenging thing. But thing is that energy security may be very different. When fossil fuel is 20% of total energy, I think oil is much, much less important than before. Of course, the OPEC share will increase. So the Middle East stability is definitely necessary, but the dependency of oil declines. So IEA is rethinking about the security level of the oil stockpile. Also, critical mineral is getting more important for the batteries. Electricity system flexibility is key to make stable supply of electricity. So it quadruples from now to 2050. But issue for decarbonization is energy infrastructure, like coal, steel, cement, heavy industry, but mainly this in power and industry sector make a difference and difficult. Because they are the hardest to abate sectors. IEA think these two sectors, we have to watch carefully what's happening in emerging Asia, because compared to the developed world, emerging Asian infrastructure is much younger, and it may take much longer time to deplete. So how to cope with decarbonization of emerging Asia infrastructure is the key. And here comes the answer, that is the hydrogen. That China will see the very difficult, challenging target of 2060 decarbonization, and coal segment is key. And for India, certainly a very difficult time will happen, but solar photovoltaic will increase dramatically and help to decarbonize India. So power sector has less problem, but industrial sector may have more difficulty, because with new industry and transportation and infrastructure, how to abate the carbon from this new sector is the difficulties or challenge for Indian government. Hydrogen may help, as I said. Japan as a leader for hydrogen since 2014, fuel cell vehicle Mirai of Toyota is certainly the leader. But now it's more Europe who is leading because they are getting much more serious to use renewables. Hydrogen is a necessary buffer. So they are planning to build a hydrogen highway. That means a pipeline system as a backbone to the Europe. Europe try to use more renewables by connecting power grid lines and to have a bigger, larger market of electricity was their answer. But to supplement it with hydrogen pipeline is a very, very important sustainability, collective sustainability and energy security measure. Yes, Japan noticed of this importance recently when the Prime Minister Suga announced carbon neutrality last year. Japanese government just a plan how to reduce carbon emission toward 2050. Yes, the full decarbonization of the power sector and using more hydrogen, methanation, etc. in the industrial sector is their plan. And also, it means the growth strategy of industry, because it's not only the cost of transformation, but it's a great opportunity to have a new industry. So around this area of 14 priority field has been pointed out in the energy, transport, and other sectors, but hydrogen is the key element. Fuel cell vehicle, of course, but industrial use of fuel ammonia or hydrogen for the fuel, or even small modular reactor, nuclear reactor could be used to generate hydrogen. So, golden age of hydrogen is coming. That is my kind of conclusion. But hydrogen can be produced in a green way by the renewables, but also using the steam methane reforming with natural gas and carbon storage, capture and storage, so blue hydrogen could be produced. So we need both of these different type of hydrogen. So interesting case of JERA, the joint venture of Tokyo Electric and Chubu, is coal-fired ammonia with coal power plant and hydrogen with gas turbine power plant. So this could be an interesting model for Asian economies to decarbonize the hard to abate sectors. And Japan is proposing 3 ways of transporting hydrogen: liquid hydrogen, ammonia, or organic hydrate. So Japan started 50 years ago of importing liquid natural gas as a cleaner source of energy, but now we are moving toward importing the hydrogen by these ways and building the supply chain, including the Asian growing economies, as well as those countries may suffer as a producer of gas, like Middle East or Australia or North America. And also there's the idea of building hydrogen pipeline in Japan. Also, there's the idea of building Northeast Asian gas pipeline forum of connecting pipelines of gas, but why not using hydrogen into it? Or, of course, renewable energy electricity could be used more by connecting each other, like Masayoshi Son's idea. But to make this happen, carbon price is a key element. IEA net zero 2050 assume a very high carbon price, even $250 per ton by 2050. So this is a key element of the G20 discussion, but the G20's performance is somewhat diverse. Europeans are moving ahead, while Japan, India, China is a little left behind. We need to improve And as this event is hosted by Norway, and Norway is a really good explorer of carbon pricing and applying to this gas sector. I visited Sleipner gas field some time ago, and it is a great success of $60 carbon price and CCS. Well, finally, let me conclude my remark by a couple of things. The ICEF, Innovation for Cool Earth Forum, has found that climate change is not gender neutral. The women is impacted much more than men by climate change. But they can change the course of action in the corporation if 30% or more women in the board or in the government. So this is the infographics of ICEF, that key technologies like hydrogen, battery, small modular reactor, CCUS, carbon recycle, digitalization, that those who play this decarbonization is mainly women. This is the difficulty, that's a very big challenge for everybody, every country, to see the sustainable future. This is my last slide. Important thing is international cooperation. Yuval Harari mentioned in his recent book that the recent challenge to the humankind is global nature, like ecology or climate change. And nationalism cannot solve the problem. So how can we make this international collaboration is the key. And ICEF this year it will take place October 6th and 7th in the web style again. And I welcome everybody come and join and contribute to the similar but very difficult issue of sustainability and make our future rosy and success. Thank you very much.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.